Well, good morning and welcome to the Ethics in the New World Order Forum today. I'm Kim Ardila Morgan, Director of the Center for Applied Ethics at Palm Beach State College, and we are really extremely delighted to have each and every one of you here today with us as we explore the meaning and impact of ethics in the new normal. We thank you first and foremost for coming along with us on this journey today as we fulfill our mission of building a culture of ethics in Palm Beach County. I'd be remiss, however, if I didn't acknowledge all the others who have made today possible. And if I forget you or neglect to mention you, please forgive me in advance. They include, first of all, our President and Board of Trustees for responding, as is our institution's history, to the community's need and interest in establishing a host institution for the Center for Applied Ethics. We're very grateful to our speakers, Keith Darcy, and our local panelists who agreed to take their time and share their knowledge with us today. Our Ethics Partnership Council, which informs us on our initiatives and goals and makes up a nonprofit stakeholder group from across all the sectors of Palm Beach County. That ultimately, with the leadership of Leadership Palm Beach County, resulted in the establishment of our Code of Ethics, Commission on Ethics, Inspector General, and ultimately the Center. Our wonderful Palm Beach State College colleagues, so many of them made today possible. Our CRM department with the designing women who made all the beautiful flyers and announcements that you received. Our security, our facilities people for setting this up, Jeff, Alejandro, and crew, Miss Barbara Cipriano, I don't know where she is, but she's our Associate Dean over Public Safety back in the back, and she's the hostess with the mostest, and she oversees all of our public safety training programs here at the college, law enforcement, fire, and EMS, and Larry Schrader, who's director of our Criminal Justice Institute, training Palm Beach County's finest for you all every day. And to our IT department for creating the app, for making the registration so easy for today. And lastly, but not least, to Olivia Morris Ford and her group of students. She's the student activities manager here and leader of all the fabulous student ambassadors that you saw here today. I think they're inside now if you want to stand up. Nepali John with the Aspira Club, Emigdio Abac Ordonez with the Phi Beta Lambda, Deanna Grant with Biology Club, and Carly Theodore with the Christian Fellowship Club. And finally, my left and right arm, the program assistant for the center, is Yvette Velez, who made all today possible. Thank you to everyone. So moving on with our program now, I want to mention to you that in your packet there is a feedback survey that we would really appreciate your thoughtful comments at the end of this session to share your thoughts with us for future programs and activities. Our student ambassadors have additional question cards also available to you if you have a burning question that you would like submitted during the Q&A period after each speaker. So a few interesting things happened once I accepted the position of the Ethics Center Director here that informed some of my thinking about the program topics for today. And first of all, right away, I was given the not so complimentary moniker of Miss Ethics. I imagine that was akin to the even less popular relation of Miss Manners. People stopped telling jokes or stopped talking when I came up around them. Friends in government that I had known for over 20 years turned the other way or made the sign of the cross when they saw me coming. And no one wanted to be my friend on Facebook or connect on LinkedIn. But most importantly, I heard so many people say, I don't need to learn anything about ethics. I know right from wrong. So what was it about ethics that put people on edge so much? And to be honest, I have to tell you that I really did wonder how deep of a dive we could do with a program around ethics. A nice concept, but where's the beef? I soon found out from a number of sources that there was much more to it than I had thought. It's no surprise to anyone that the pace of change has been increasing exponentially over the past decade. And for a long time, everyone was pretty much able to keep up and adjust as we went along, mostly just involving uploading your iTunes or your contacts to your new device. But in the past decade, the pace of change has ramped up to the point that we barely have time to program one device and they've already created another one. So all you Apple and Samsung and Galaxy users, you know what I mean. Technology and social media have been the key drivers of what's been referred to now as the ethical frontier. I want you to think about that. This is a place in time where our understanding, policies, and controls normally in place haven't been able to keep up with the pace of the advances in technology and social media. In fact, Rush Kidder, who is a CEO and founder of the Institute for Global Ethics, said in a serious alert that we will not survive the 21st century with the ethics of the 20th century. His premise was about everyone knowing right from wrong, what he called moral temptations. But now the real challenges that we have, big and small, have come down to the point with the capabilities, even with the tiny computers, tiny powerful computers we hold in our hand, to the larger systems in place of deciding between what we can do and what we should do. So that's where competing values come into play, and where what he called right versus right dilemmas is where our challenges begin as individuals. As we become more and more able to wield broad, expansive, and lethal powers in our hands, sometimes with the flick of a switch or a tap on a keyboard. Think Chernobyl, the love virus, the Wall Street meltdown. The potential for good and harm exists equally on both sides of the spectrum. So now in recent years, we've observed lapses not only in government, but also in education, business, medicine, religion, and even sports. That now, with the ongoing disruptions and hyperconnectedness of our society, offer more and more opportunities for lapses. And so that brings us to the intention for this morning together. As the first in a series, we hope, of ongoing community conversations, our primary intention really was to clarify the conversation around ethics and the meaning and meanings of the word ethics and its relation to compliance. So you see the title, Culture, Compliance, and what does it mean for the bottom line to us individually, to our organizations, and to our community. In your packet there, you also have something from the Josephson Institute for Ethics that talks about the 3 levels of ethics. And he defines those somewhat simplistically beyond Kant and Socrates and all of that. But for us day-to-day people, the 3 levels he talks about are compliance, where you follow the rules, the policies, lawful but awful. That's where a lot of people offer. We didn't break any laws, right? But it didn't smell quite right. And then the moral integrity level, where we operate off of our values and the moral vision that we have for ourselves. As the catalyst and convener for building a culture of ethics in Palm Beach County, the Center for Applied Ethics' intention for this forum is to begin a broader and deeper conversation around the ideas of ethics, and to unwrap and expand everyone's understanding as we go out and try and wrestle with our challenges and real decisions that we have to make every day. Today we're going to talk about global and local trends impacting ethics in our future, an overview of the agencies that operate in that arena here in Palm Beach County and their program updates and future plans, as well as opportunities for everyone to begin a journey to become a part of the solution for building a culture of ethics in Palm Beach County. To start our program today, we're pleased to have our president, Dr. Dennis Gallen, who will provide the opening remarks, and just a little bit about Dr. Gallen and his role here at the college. Going back a little in time, the college is actually celebrating its 80th anniversary as the oldest community college in Florida. And the idea of this junior college, as it was then, came about, like the center, as a community response to the problems of the Great Depression. Young men and women were unable to secure employment following their graduation from high school. And so a group of civic leaders, including Joe Youngblood and Howard Watkins, began a civic initiative to create this junior college. And so on November 14th, 1933, the college opened with 41 students. Today, we're at 45,000. So today, President Gallen leads the largest institution of higher education in Palm Beach County. He's been at the helm here since 1997, steering it in fine form to our 80th year, as well as its growth from a community college to a 4-year degree-granting state college. Dr. Gallen serves on the American Association of Community College Presidents Roundtable. He's a board member of the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, Commission on Colleges, and he's the past president of the Florida Association of Colleges and Universities. I vividly recall introducing Dr. Gallen to a group of local leaders on his recent arrival to Palm Beach County. And he came in 1997. He was introduced as the leader who would take the college to the on-ramp of the 21st century, because everyone was talking about the year 2000 then. But little did I know, he would propel us onto the academic Autobahn, full speed ahead, and never look back. Under his leadership, the college has expanded its comprehensive mission with more workforce programs and partnerships with business, industry, and other educational institutions and agencies. We've seen buildings go up in all of our campuses, from the Lake Worth Education and Training Center to the Belle Glade Technical Education Center, as well as Boca Raton Humanities Building and Palm Beach Garden Center for Early Learning and Bioscience. Today, the energetic, exuberant leader who arrived in 1997, who's never slowed down in his tireless efforts and enthusiasm to promote access and success for learning and growth opportunities for any and all individuals seeking to learn at this institution, continues to respond to the needs of the community by responding to the request to host this center, and is now concentrating on his next project to break ground on a 5th campus in Loxahatchee Grove. And if the past is any predictor of the future, I'd venture to say that the Western County residents are in for a treat before too much longer. Please join me in welcoming our president, Dr. Dennis Gallen.
My gosh, thank you, Kim. Good morning.
Good morning.
It is so good to be here this morning and to be able to look out on this audience and to see so many individuals from this great community that we live, and to see individuals from all sectors. I see also individuals from the institution itself, so it's good to see all of the students. And I tell you, I've been looking forward to this program, for a very long time. And so when I was able to review the agenda for today and saw the guest speaker, and then to see the names of all of those individuals who are going to be serving on the panel, I decided very quickly that for those of you in the audience, you did not come to hear me give welcome remarks, but instead you came just as I to engage and participate and hear those individuals who are committed to a topic and the implementation of ethics in this community and the world. And so welcome to Palm Beach State on this beautiful morning. What a great day to be living in South Florida, is it not? You know, I heard so many times that this is God's country. I'm not sure if I would go to that extreme, if it is, but I tell you, the weather here in South Florida at this time of year is just remarkable. Now, a month or two ago, I'm not sure that I would be willing to engage in a conversation about living in South Florida and how nice it is to live. Because if you're like me, you were running from one building to the next, from your car to the next building to your home, and not making any detours. You know, making a straight line to the point that you're trying to reach. But today is a different day, and of course, South Florida is that place to be. Let me just share with you just a little bit. And Kim put me on a very short leash this morning because we are here to listen to our guests and to be able to engage in a conversation about ethics, from those individuals who we've invited to be here. But before I do that, Kim, let me thank you for you and your staff for organizing this program. Certainly, you've done a remarkable job in terms of getting this facility organized in such a way that's conducive to a good conversation. And I would be remiss if I did not thank you for all that you've done to create the Center of Excellence, Applied Ethics, here at this institution. A center that I'm sure is going to be working with agencies like the Inspector General and the Commission itself to make Palm Beach County one of those communities that would be a signature for having a culture of ethics in our community. And so let me just ask you to think just a little bit and to ask and answer some questions with me this morning. I think it would be difficult, regardless to how you get your news, to keep up with what's going on in our community and this nation, whether you get it from traditional means as the newspaper, print media, the television, or whether you get your news through some of the most technologically advanced social media where you can get information instantly. So regardless of how you get your information, I think that you would agree with me, and Kim has already made reference, that there is a need for us to do something about the ethical fumbles that are occurring, throughout our community. And so, regardless of how you respond to those, I think that there is a need for us to be able to address those issues. And I do believe that they are there. They're happening more and more frequently. And I would say to you also that they're hitting us one after another. And just to give you just a little bit of some of the snippets of those that have hit the headline, we won't take the time to enumerate and talk about all of them. But I think that if you were like me, you were mortified a few years ago when there were corporate scandals after another. Corporate scandals like Enron, WorldCom, Arthur Andersen, which was an organization, a corporate entity that's living right here and existed in our community, you would think that, my gosh, how can it continue to happen? And then just a few years later, we had another episode of those scandals coming forward with those like Bernie Madoff, the Wall Street fiasco with the banks, and working with mortgage companies, and the actions of those individuals really moved this country to a point where it almost went over the financial cliff. And so you may ask then, why are those kind of things happening? We're seeking answers to those questions. And so, but keep in mind that these are institutions and agencies that are run by graduates of our education system. They are coming through, or they have come through our doors. They're the graduates of some of the, in most cases, some of the most elite colleges and universities in our country, and therefore you could conclude that they are some of the smartest and some of the most knowledgeable people in the world. So why are these instances happening in these great organizations? The answer may vary from one instance to another. But in my opinion, these blunders did not occur because the individual operating those institutions did not have sufficient knowledge. They occurred because these individuals did not use their knowledge ethically. And so can we as educators justify producing smart and knowledgeable graduates who have learned how to compute math and science but have not been able to think ethically? What are the responsibilities for an institution like Palm Beach State? Is teaching of ethics someone else's job? I believe that ethics should be a part of our curriculum. I do believe that it is the responsibility of educational institutions. I believe that ethics should be taught in all of our institutions at all levels, from elementary school through college. And so how do we teach then ethics in such a way that individual will follow through on what they have learned? In other words, how can we teach ethics to our students in such a way that they can, one, recognize when they see an instance where it's not ethical, and then how do we teach those individuals how to translate that knowledge that they've been given about what is right, what is wrong, into ethical behaviors? Do we teach ethics in lieu of other disciplines? Keep in mind that education institutions are not exempt from these ethical blunders. Kim has mentioned some of the kinds of areas that ethical blunders have taken place over the years. They have taken place in all of our institutions. And educational institutions are not exempted. As a matter of fact, I think that educational institutions invest less in the implementation of ethics, than many of our corporate institutions. I think that there's much room for us to improve in this area. So, but regardless of how much we invest in it, we are not exempt from those ethical blunders. We have students, I would imagine, every day that are committing plagiarism, cheating on tests, and we have staff in our institution that are seeing those blunders and putting a blind eye to them and not following through on closing the loop. And so I think that all of those institutions need to take another look at where they are in terms of implementing ethical standards so that those individuals, once they come through our places, that they would be able to implement what they've learned in a way that would cause this country to be a better place. So in a sense, it is unfortunate at this time that ethics, that we are focused on ethics, or that we're not focusing on ethics and civics engagement at a time when there is so much happening in our communities. We need to do a better job on the acquisition of ethical standards in our community. And those are the types of skills, that are not taught on standardized tests. And I think that is the push and the pull between whether our institution should focus more on ethical standards as opposed to teaching of the analytics. But that is where we are. We are working on those things that are pushed upon us by our society, and because we are concerned about engaging in making systemic analytical analysis, we're putting more emphasis on that area because they can be judged easily by standardized tests, and as a result of that, the tests push and help us decide what is embedded in our curriculum. And so, but Palm Beach Community College is moving forward to be able to do some things that would help this community be able to have a cultural ethics among all of our individuals. We have ethics embedded in our curriculum. It is in our mission statement. It is embedded in all of our, in the Applied Ethics Institute, an institute that is here, and Kim is really getting off the ground, that have been moving us forward. And so this institution is committed to helping this community, this state, and this nation move forward to be sure that we have a culture of ethics for all of our community, so that we all would be proud to say that we live in Palm Beach County. So I'm looking forward to engaging in the conversation here today, and hoping that you will leave here with a better understanding of what your role can be to make this community as great as it can be. So thank you all for coming here this morning to be with us.